This is the portion of the show where we go through the 4 ACC basketball teams in the state of North Carolina, and we say what we are most confident about and what we are most concerned about when it comes to each of those schools. Now, yesterday, Dennis and was it Graham? Dennis and Graham.
That's right.
Did the podium, so we'll go in reverse order of the podium. Coming off the podium, NC State. As always, we have good news and bad news. Which do you want first? I'll take the bad news, please. Always go with that first. Dennis, what are you concerned about when it comes to the Wolfpack?
How Kevin Keats, the head coach of NC State, is going to handle his rotation. Because with all the guards that they have, there's a ton of depth on that team in terms of their backcourt. Who is going to be that first guy off the bench? Is it MJ Rice? Is it Cam Woods? Because those guys are now playing because of coming back from injury
more
or
minutes
eligibility.
Seemingly by the game.
So what's everyone's role going to be moving forward? They got to figure that out pretty quickly because, again, Cam Woods and MJ Rice have all come back into the lineup or come into the lineup for the first time in the last 2 weeks.
Likely getting healthier. So is his role the same as it was 3 weeks ago? And there's a lot. And that plays into mine. Mine is just the unknown. They still don't know what they have. And the ACC, there's meat of their ACC schedule starts on the 3rd of the new year. And I feel like they're still feeling themselves out, right? They're still in the discovery portion because of what you said. MJ Rice is back and playing a bit more. Cam Woods is back. There's Mo Diarra is getting healthy. Everybody was learning to play with DJ Burns. Somebody I'm going to talk about in a second, DJ Horn is knocking it down. Is he the kind of alpha dog? There's a lot of unknown. When you think most teams go into their non-conference schedule thinking, all right, there's a few things we got to iron out, a few wrinkles we have to iron out prior to hitting our conference schedule. It didn't feel like there was much ironing out for NC State during their non-conference schedule. Now, they showed good things, particularly individually, but the unknown scares me. I like to know things. Hopefully, you can tell that by us doing this show. I like to know things. I like to do the research. I like to have facts, and then there's not much going on with NC State as far as facts. There's all projections, not much concrete to build on. What are you confident about when it comes to the Wolfpack?
I'm confident that all those guys that we mentioned are good. That's the thing. It's a plethora of riches, though. It's not like I got to figure out my rotation. And it's like, all right, who can step up and be the 7th guy?
I was going to say
for my team. You have a dearth of guys that you can go with.
That's a good point, right? If you only have 6 guys that can play, what your role is less important than how many minutes can you give us.
It's a lot easier to shave it down than it is to find another guy.
That's a good point. My confidence is I just want to give this guy a shout out. DJ Horn.
Yeah.
I'm kind of close after watching their non-conference schedule to saying he's their best player this year. And I was not expecting that at the beginning of the year. Obviously, DJ Burns he's a tough one to just put in the race with everybody else, who's your best player, because he's so different. But I'm a big Casey Morsell fan. MJ Rice, depending on when and if he gets 100% healthy and his role expands, he's their leading scorer and he's shooting 44% from 3. That's exactly what you need from a guy playing his position in college basketball right now. Spacing for the big guy, spacing for the slashers, knock down shots, pick up your 3 assists, your 3 rebounds a game, right? Do something when you're not scoring the ball, and then be the leading scorer on the team. That is wildly important if you have somebody that's dependable that can do that, and he's getting there. I'm not there yet, but he's getting there, and I think that's a really good thing for NC State. Jumping to the next team here, we're doing cons and cons. What are you most confident about? What are you most concerned about? Let's go to the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Dennis, what are you concerned about for Wake?
I'm concerned they haven't been tested enough yet early in this season. Because we see, for example, we'll get to North Carolina and some of these other schools here in a little bit. They've played ranked schools or multiple ranked teams right now. Now, I know they played Georgia, who's obviously no pushover of a program. But it's not like they're a top 25 team as of right now, even when they played them. Yeah, they played Florida. They played Rutgers. Again, these aren't the toughest teams that they've played so far. So I just don't know how battle-tested they are as of right now.
Again, my concern's similar. And this is now 3 or 4 weeks going straight. Close games. They still have not won a game by less than double digits. They are 8-0 in games decided by 10 or more, and they are 0-3 in games decided by single digits. So there's just not there. And by the way, if I had to choose, give me the blowout win every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If I had to choose, let's win them all by 40. So I'm not knocking them for like, geez, all of your wins are blowouts. What I'm saying is there is some comfortability in playing in a close game and winning for the next time you have to be in a close game. And if you think they're going to roll through like the ACC and just all of their wins are going to be by 14 and like it's just not going to happen. You're going to have to win games that are one-possession games. You're going to have to make your free throws down the end. You're going to have to not foul down at the end of a game against a team that will knock down all their free throws if you put them there. So I'm just looking at Waco, and I'm a little concerned that you haven't done that yet because your confidence in those confidence and concerns, little inception here, your confidence in those late game situations won't be as battle tested as other teams, and that is my concern. That was a confidence in the concern of confidence and concerns.
I see what you did there.
I wasn't intentional, but we stumbled into it a little backwards. What are you confident in for the Demon Deacons?
They got some depth of scoring. They have 4 guys, 15 points or more a game, scoring-wise, including your boy Andrew Carr, the transfer from Delaware.
Speaking of, you may have just hinted at my confidence, but continue.
No, but that's my confidence. You take it right over.
My confidence is Andrew Carr.
There you go.
Now, I have to admit, right, I like to put my biases on Front Street so nobody can, if I already say it, you can't try to call me out for it. Andrew Carr started his career at my alma mater, the University of Delaware, and he was one of the good ones. He was going to take us to a CAA championship. He was going to take us to the Sweet 16. We were very excited. And then he transferred to Wake, so it's one of those, like, little bittersweet watching the success he's having. But they're, like, two-way. He's almost averaging 2 blocks a game, and he's knocking down more than a 3 per game on basically 40% shooting. Two-way stretch bigs do not grow on trees.
Yeah.
Now, and they play him alongside Efton Reed a lot, so sometimes he's playing more of a 4 than a 5. But at 6'9", guys that can knock down the 3 and block shots and rebound. He's the team's leading rebounder. They don't come around often. So when a mid-major program gets their hands on one, they should really do everything they can to keep him. Really, don't let an ACC program come just steal him away. Steve Forbes at ACC Tip-Off tried to give me the backhanded compliment. Well, we only take transfers from great programs, so it's really a credit to Delaware. I'm like, no, you still took him. You still took him. But no, I'm happy for him, and he's very good. And like I said, they don't grow on. You could call him a tree, but they don't grow on trees. Having somebody that can be efficient on both ends and really open up the spacing for all those other scorers, it's a very good thing for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Now, someone feels right about this. Our top 2 are Duke and North Carolina.
Yeah.
Silver medal this week was Duke. And let's start with concerns. What are you concerned about?
Depth.
Depth
of the rotation
shallow, really?
right now. Because if you look at the last several games for Duke, only 6 guys are getting double-digit minutes.
See, I agree with you.
Like, he's shorting the bench now because Tyrese Proctor is out right now. No Christian Reeves, who I thought they were going to try and incorporate some more minutes at this point of the season to maybe get to a point where he's going to play 10, 12 minutes to be a rim protector. But outside of Jalen Blake's coming off the bench, not really a whole lot. In their game against Baylor, between Blake's, Ryan Young, and TJ Power, those 3 guys came off the bench. Only 21 minutes played between those 3 guys. So that bench has gotten really, really short for John Shire.
See, I thought that was more, and I agree with you, but just kind of giving the context of how I looked at it. I thought that was more showing how Shire felt it was kind of must-win time.
But even the games before that, it was very similar. Even Ryan Young in the game before, I think only played 6 minutes.
True. Because there is that element of, like, when you get into the Elite 8, Sweet 16, you see teams go like, hey, you're our 8th best player. That's good enough to play in the second round of the conference tournament. But in the Elite 8, we're only going 6 deep, and we're just going to tell our guys there's no reason to keep anything in the tank. And to see Duke do that so early in the season, I was like, oh, they're feeling the pressure of those 3 losses, by December 3rd or whatever it was. My concern is, and this one, we've been talking about it. I don't know if there's a true fix for it. It's defensive bigs and rim protection.
Yeah.
And I just don't think Filipowski has I don't want to say doesn't have the ability to, but it's just not his game to, stay on the backside block and wait for somebody to get beat and challenge at the rim. And that's just not the way he plays, even though he's 7 feet. And Ryan Young definitely isn't that guy. Maybe like a Sean Stewart, but he's not playing a ton of minutes. There's no obvious answer to that question on the roster, which is a tough spot to be because, there might only be 16, 17 teams in the country that have enough big offensive kind of production to, to take advantage fully of what Duke has going on down there. But you're going to have to beat probably 2 of them to achieve any kind of run to an ACC championship or any kind of run deep into the NCAA tournament. Like, those are the teams you're going to have to beat. And without a big rim protector, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to outscore them. It's going to be you're going to have to kind of Warriors it and go small and run. So I'm concerned with that. What's your confidence for Duke?
Jeremy Roach, because in that game against Baylor specifically, I know Jared McCain had the 21 points and that dude was lights out, but Jeremy Roach was the calming force. Because if you look at that roster and the guys that we've talked about playing between McCain, Foster, 2 freshman guards, Mark Mitchell, Kyle Filipowski, 2 sophomores, Tice Proctor, who's not playing right now because of his ankle injury, is a sophomore but really should be a freshman based off of his age. It's a really young team. TJ Power off the bench is a freshman. He's the one guy that's been constant in that program for several years. It's been Jeremy Roach.
This is interesting. My confidence is Jared McCain, but specifically him waking up. We heard so much anticipation, so much hype about him coming into the year. He was going to be the freshman to do this. He was the one on draft boards. He was the one, and then it was a slow burn. But over the last 3 games, including the big win over Baylor, which you brought up, he had the 21. He's averaging 18.3 points per game over his last 3 games. In his first 8 games, he averaged 7.6 points per game. So he's averaging over 10 more points over the last 3 than he was over the previous 8. And I think that is necessary for Duke. They need McCain to be that, because Roach can't always be that, right? I think one of the ways to look at it, and this is how it played out against Baylor, is McCain is the guy, and Proctor also went healthy. We haven't seen him in a while. But those 2 are the guys with kind of the NBA skill sets. They can take over a game for long stretches. And then I kind of want the ball in Roach's hands for the last 2 minutes, right? I want him running the 2-man game, the pick and roll, making the decisions. Everybody else can execute off of him. But McCain's going to have to be a guy that scores 18-plus a game. Maybe not that much, but 15-plus for sure. So I like the fact that he's waking up and starting to feel comfortable. And some rookies or freshmen just need that. They just need 10 games to, stop looking at their jersey and going, oh my gosh, that says Duke. Like, they just need to go out and play, and he's finally doing that. And lastly, the gold medalist of the week on the podium is also the last team we talk about in Cons and Cons. What are you confident about? What are you concerned about? What are you concerned about, Dennis?
For North Carolina, consistency. To me, it's consistency. So you look at the 5 games that they've played against ranked opponents this year. Arkansas, Tennessee, UConn, Kentucky, and most recently against Oklahoma. We've seen high offensive output in some of these games. Defense wasn't quite there. Or vice versa. Maybe the defense was playing pretty good and the offense didn't quite match it. It's consistency for me because it's not just consistency as a team as a whole, but also from your depth players. Can you get consistent production from those guys? Because we saw I know I'll get into this in a little bit. In the game against Oklahoma, we saw the depth guys like a Seth Trimble hit a timely three that extended the lead from 49-41 to 52-41 in the second half. That was a timely three-pointer as Oklahoma was starting to make a push. The last two games, we've seen Cormac Ryan shoot his way out of this slump. 20 points against UConn, another double-digit game against Oklahoma. Can you consistently have the production from those other depth guys?
My concern might be the complete and total opposite of yours.
Oh, okay.
Your concern is depth. My concern is your two-time first-team All-ACC performer in Armando Bacot.
Okay.
I just haven't seen enough. I think he'll turn it around because he's Armando Bacot, and it's like we have too much positive experience with him to think it won't. But I mean, if not now, like, you know, it's a good time. You know, and you might as well do it now. You're being buoyed at times by some other players that are playing really well. But there's going to be a time where the team just needs Armando Bacot to take over a game. And we haven't seen it yet. And usually by this time of the calendar year, we had seen it 3 or 4 times already, where it's just like, oh, he was obviously the best player on the court against a good team for, 15, 17 minutes. And we just haven't seen it yet. So I'm concerned about that. Lastly here, what are you confident about for the Tar Heels?
I know you're probably going to say RJ Davis.
Of course I'm
Okay, so I'm actually going to go a little different so we're not saying the same thing.
Let me go first then.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to overthink it.
Yeah.
RJ Davis is scoring 25 plus against every good team they
Just
play.
about, yeah.
And what do you want? Like, what do you yes, I'm confident in the guy that keeps making the shots and scoring the points, and he's doing so in spurts, and he's doing so against good teams, and he's doing so in clutch moments. Mm-hmm. Now give us the curveball, because I've given everybody the fastball.
I'll say Harrison Ingram's versatility.
Fair.
Because I think it adds an element that they didn't have last season, because he can score down in the mid-range. He can also go down on the post if you need to and grab rebounds, but also he can step outside the three-point line. So we're getting scoring on different levels from Harrison Ingram. But go back to that game against UConn. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, the game against Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. He had 4 steals and a block. Defensively as a whole, that was Carolina's best game by far. And I thought they really improved defensively from the UConn loss to the win against, after obviously the game in Kentucky between, to the win against Oklahoma. Their defense improved immensely, especially off ball. And I think Harrison Ingram is a big part of that.
I really like Harrison Ingram. The way I describe his play, and I've said this on air before, is comfortable. Mm-hmm. It seems like he's comfortable doing just about everything, right? Like, he'll get a rebound defensively, and the defense will jump in front of RJ Davis, and he's just like, it's cool, I'll dribble it down court. He'll catch it on the wing. Okay, it's cool, I'll shoot the J. Okay, it's cool, I'll get an offensive rebound and dunk it. I'll defend a guard, I'll defend a big, I'll defend. He's green eggs in ham. I like him on a train. I like him on a plane. It's kind of, he's comfortable in every situation. So credit to him. And if RJ Davis wasn't playing like literally one of the 5 best players in the country,
that dude's all American.
I could easily go Harrison Ingram with my confidence.